My name is Stan, and I'm here today with Dr. Francis Myles. And he's going to be sharing with us a few things that he's working on. And I'm sure we're going to learn a lot from Dr. Francis Myles. For one reason, I would like to believe, as the Bible tells us, that as long as an heir is a child, is not any different to a servant. It's under tutors. So we definitely need tutorship. We definitely need mentorship in order for us to become the people that God has called us to be. And he's going to be talking a lot on those things that he's working on that are definitely going to be of great value and significance as far as your walk with the Lord is concerned. Welcome, Dr. Myles.
Oh, it's an honor to be back in Zimbabwe. And after elections, we were blessed to see in America that they were peaceful on the day of. And just to be in the country, to be here, it's beautiful. And then meeting you is an added bonus here.
Wonderful. We praise God for that. So would you like to talk to us about the mentorship program that you're working on? I'm sure you're working on a mentorship program.
Yes.
You highlighted that to me earlier. May you please kindly share in depth?
Yeah, I believe that the difference between seasons in people's lives is mentorship. Because I believe that inbuilt in every human being is the ability to become. It's built in every man. That's why nobody wants to remain the same. And even those that do, internally, when they are privately by themselves, don't like what they see in the mirror, because there is almost this voice inside of them that says you could be better, you could become bigger, okay? But the technical know-how on how to get to the place called there, while minimizing mistakes along the way, is critical, and the way to do that I know by traveling the world and dealing with successful people is mentorship. Mentorship, having somebody who's been where you are going to begin to speak to you now, and allow you to become. So I am in the process of putting together a mentoring program, that I'm going to be calling the Champions Mentoring Moment. Wow. Because I think life is a collection of moments. This is a moment we're having together.
Yeah, true.
And what happens in this moment could literally take your life to a whole new level.
Amen to that.
You see what I'm saying?
Amen to that.
I can remember my own life. 20 years ago, I had a meeting, in a meeting that was supposed to be, it was a mundane. I thought it was going to be a mundane meeting, but a question was asked of me in that meeting that literally changed the projectile of my life. I am the man I am today because of that meeting. Wow. So I believe life is a collection of moments that create us. And so I just want to be able to help champion those moments, the thought processes people are supposed to have in those moments. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. How do you become, for instance, how do you become bigger than success? Because I think failure is easy, success is difficult. Because all you have to do is to fail is not do anything.
Yeah, true.
You see what I'm saying? But success requires effort, and then staying successful requires even a greater effort, because the human tendency is to move towards complacency. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's why I live in America, I see it with guys like Michael Jordan, one of the best basketball players of all times. But the reason he was that way is because even when he had 5 championships under his belt, he kept pushing hard. Michael Jordan would arrive at the basketball court at the United Center in Chicago an hour before everybody else. How does the best player in the world, the most paid guy, he's the most known guy, everybody buys a ticket to come and see Jordan play.
True.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's got 5 championships. There are guys in the NBA who are multimillionaires who came out of the NBA without 1 ring. They would be happy with 1 ring. Michael had 5, chasing a 6th one. Wow. But he would come an hour early. What is that? See, that's the key. That's what I want to do. Is help millennials, particularly African millennials, because I feel like we're in the middle of an African renaissance.
Okay.
And I want to be part of it.
Well, that's wonderful. as you're just speaking, I'm just listening to it, and as I'm listening to it, I'm wondering now, because there's a group of people who have no idea they need mentoring.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of people right now who are hooked up on drugs, hooked up on cocaine and all kinds of things, and living a crazy, weird life. In other words, they probably don't even have a sense of purpose. Is there a way, I mean, sorry for just pulling this out of nowhere, but is there a way that that they could also be reached with this particular mentorship program, so that they can at least be awakened to a place where they realize their purpose? You know, they're not just mere statistics. They're not just human beings to add up to the number of human beings on planet Earth.
Exactly. They can definitely be reached, because you see, every human being fundamentally struggles with what I call the life's essential questions, like why am I here? I mean, that's in the heart of every human being, whether they verbalize it or not. And so when I do, I begin there. Why are you here? You challenge them, because one of the things about questions, they locate where we are. They at least allow us to confront what we have failed to acknowledge. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Why am I here? Where am I going? Okay, what am I capable of doing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
You know, is there life after death? I mean, I call those the life essential questions. So to answer your question, yes, every human being, I believe, can be activated by the mentorship program, because it's built in such a way that it endangers this life essential question that you can ask them at whatever level you are. You could be the corporate CEO and you're still dealing with, and you could be somebody like who's hooked up on drugs. You see what I'm saying? And literally sometimes why they're hooked up on drugs is because they have failed to answer one of these questions or don't know how to get to answering that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's why I always say this. I never give up on people. You know?
Wonderful, wonderful. You see, as I'm just listening to you right now, there's just another thing that's just coming to my mind, and what's coming to my mind, or what I see essentially, is that scripture, you know, seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Yes.
Right? I'm just looking at right now. I'm just looking at that word kingdom, and I'm realizing, okay, because when you look at it from the Greek understanding, you see that it's from the word beslia.
Yeah.
And the word beslia does not necessarily speak of a kingdom, but rather it speaks of authority over a kingdom. It's speaking of dominion. Speaking of kingship.
Yes.
So I'd like to believe that the mentorship program, what it simply do is that it will make the person discover the king in them. Says that at the end of it, they then discover they then be able to dominate, because once you're a king, you must have a domain. You must have a domain, a place of operation.
Exactly.
So I'd like to believe that this would definitely do that, isn't it?
That's why I'm calling the champions mentoring moment. You see what I'm saying, King? There's a championship. You can call it kingly spirit, championship spirit. It's about the same. It's that we are called to be kings. There is a human beings were given dominion. Okay? What's very interesting is that dominion is a package that just comes with being human. That's why no human being likes to be dominated.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, in the dominion mandate that God gave to Adam and Eve, the only thing he never allowed them to dominate was other people. But you can dominate the fish, the different things. These are domains. You know, you can dominate the technology. You can master it and be blessed by doing that. You see what I'm saying? So in the Champions Mentor, we want to work in that spirit. We want to let people get in touch with that spirit of dominion inside of them that refuses to be anything less than what God would call his best for them.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And I believe that's why mentors come into. I think one of the things that mentor does is I think most people, what I've come to find out, most people do a lot if they can just find somebody who can believe in them. Because sometimes we need others to believe in us before we believe in ourselves. You see what I'm saying? And it's almost like what the Bible says, that herein is the love of God revealed. Not that we loved God first, that he loved us first. That means that there's something about God loving us first that induced us to respond in kind. Wow. So I'm finding in mentoring sometimes my believing in people over time cause the believing in themselves. And when I can get them to the place of believing in themselves, we are ready for business.
Wow.
We are ready to open up shop now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
So I think so. This was part of the mentorship. I project that very strongly because you know what? I come from a background where I say this: if I can become a Dr. Myles with the kind of grace and the influence that I have around the world, coming from an environment that was so disadvantaged. 1989, I mean, my conditions was not good.
Okay.
I joke about it. I said I was so poor that when poor people saw me, they got encouraged. Like, wow. We thought we were doing bad until we saw this guy. Pray for him, Jesus. Help him. To become what I've become now, a best-selling author, a voice around the world. You see what I'm saying? Meeting with heads of state. Anybody can become it.
Wow. Wow.
So I bring that kind of engagement to human conversation because there are very few people who can tell me their situation is more dire than I was in 1989. So that is different. I was not born with a silver spoon. I was not born in Buckingham Palace, where the nuances of my birth cushion even my foolishness. That even in my foolishness, I look wiser than the people who are much wiser because I've got luxuries that cover my foolishness. Even my bad decision, they are somehow camouflaged by the fact that the mere luxuries around me are so much, my foolishness is not much against my luxury. I was born in a place whereby foolishness, any foolish decision, made your station in life even worse. My point is to come from that to this. I believe in it. I believe. That's why the mentorship program is going to be big for me. So we want to make it tight.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is really beautiful. You see, I could have stayed on the mentorship for long. It's wonderful just hearing all these beautiful things. And so the other thing is that I'd like you to share with us is about this forthcoming conference in America.
Yes. Wow, listen, we've got Kings. We have an annual conference called Kings, and Kings stands for Kingdom, Invasion, Gathering of Saints.
Wow.
Kings, Kingdom, Invasion, Gathering of Saints. Because I believe when saints gather, they ought to bring kingdom invasion to whatever they're touching. And so we have Bishop Clarence McClendon, who's a very does not need any introduction. If you ever watched TBN, he's all over the place. He's been hosting TBN with John and Paul Crouch when they're still alive. Now with Matthew Crouch, he's there all the time. You know, he's a friend of mine. He's coming to be with us. We've got my dear friend Warren Marcus, who just wrote an amazing book called Priestly Prayer, about the only prayer God ever wrote in the Tanakh, on the entire Bible. It's a life-changing book. He's the executive producer for his Supernatural TV show with my other friend, Sid Roth. So he's going to be with us. We've got Tony Kemp. I call it the Miracle Man. This black man, I mean, he just works in miracles, man. Crazy miracles, man. Just crazy stuff. So Tony Kemp is going to be with us. And then my dear friend, Dr. Bob Harrison, Mr. Ink, is known as America's increase expert. Bob Harrison has produced more Christian millionaires in America than anybody that I know.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. And so you talk about mentorship on a different level. That's him. That's Bob Harrison. So they are all going to be coming together in Phoenix, October 4th to the 7th. We're going to be streaming it live on Facebook for those who are not able to be there. It's going to be amazing. But if you can be there, there's nothing like live, you know. I'm excited about it. The theme of the convocation is of harvesting the force of favor.
Wow.
Because I believe sometimes the difference between seasons is favor. You know, sometimes it's not even skill.
It's favor.
Favor. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have been propelled into doors and places that I could not have got there paying. If I tried to pay for them, it would be very expensive. But favor got me there.
Wow.
So, but the key is, can such a force be harvested, not where it's no longer unpredictable, but it becomes a predictable, duplicatable technology for living in your life. Can you do it? Where favor is no longer something that's abstract, something that surprises you. Can it be an ally, something that is there? Are there spiritual protocols that govern it, how it works?
Wow.
That you can do it again and again. Because, you know, for anything
like
to be...
literally living a life of favor.
Exactly.
Like favor becomes
the life.
Your nature.
Exactly. That's what can be harvested. Yeah, and so that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm really excited. You see what I'm saying? Amen? Yeah. So, you know, if you're listening to us, you want to be there, please, I would love to see you. You know, I love Zimbabwe. You know, Zimbabweans, you guys travel all over the world. You come to Phoenix, Arizona, and by the way, October is the best month it's the best month. The place is the perfect mixture of sun and coolness. Oh my God, it's a paradise during October. That's why we chose that month. It's the best time to come to Arizona. Wow. So I'm excited about that.
Wow, that's really beautiful. You know, when you spoke about when you spoke about people being there, you know, physically, my spiritual father, the late Apostle Charles Cicero, would always say there is nothing that beats exposure.
Yes.
There is nothing that beats exposure. So.
I like him already. Yeah. There's nothing that beats exposure, you know, because, you know, you can't deny what you've seen, what your hands have handled, what you've touched. Yeah, that's powerful.
So the other thing that I would like you to look at, to talk to us about, is the conference in Kenya.
Yes.
The Kenyan conference.
You know, I'm excited. You know, I wouldn't believe that the last night we were at Jabula with my friend and mentor, Bishop Tudor Bismarck, at the stadium, and he mentioned, he made a comment. He said, I believe it's more Africa. It's Africa's time. There's no way you can 2 years about it. Our time has come. And so I'm excited. Even though I'm an American citizen, I live in America, you know, born in Africa, but live in America. I feel that God is calling me in this season to spend a lot of time mentoring Africans, because I believe the baton of the next engine of what God wants to do across the nations is to come out of Africa. So I'm going to, with that note, I'm going to Kenya at the invitation of the Kenya Congress of Pentecostal Churches.
Wow.
They are about over 10,000 churches strong. They're telling me they're expecting 5,000 pastors.
Wow.
We're going to congregate for 5 days, and the Vice President of Kenya is going to be there, I believe, on the last day of the conference, and I get an opportunity to spend some time with him. It's amazing. So I'm excited. So it's going to be in Kiambu. So for those of you who are in Kenya, I want you to be able to come. If you want to get more details on where it's going to be, that we have a flyer on my website, francismiles.com. Francis, then the word Myles, MYLOES.com. Just go to the events page, itinerary page, and everything is there on how you can get to the conference. But I tell you, it's going to be amazing. So I'm excited about Kenya.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I'd like to believe that it's going to be really, really impactful.
Yeah.
And it will definitely course correct the future.
That's right.
The future, not only of Africa, but of the world.
Yes.
Because I'd like to believe that Ethiopia shall raise up a hand.
Yes,
and
exactly.
if she does,
Yeah.
you know, so many other folks will have no choice
Yes.
but to also engage. So
Wow.
yeah, that's really wonderful. That's really wonderful.
Yes.
Praise God for that. So the other thing that I'd like you to share with us is about the online school.
Yes. Yeah, one of the mandates, one of my primary mandates on my life is to teach the body of Christ the order of Melchizedeck. Now, when I say that, somebody may say, what is that? You know, the very fact that they're asking is the reason why they need to go into school. Because the Bible tells us that Jesus, in the book of Hebrews, has passed behind the veil. And we know when Christ died that the veil was rent in two in the temple, signifying that the way into the Holy of Holies had now been parted. We can go through the blood into the very Shekinah presence of the Almighty God. But the Bible tells us in the book of Hebrews that Jesus Christ has gone beyond the veil and entered for us. So when I say entered for us, it means I did not enter for my benefit. I mean, you don't use the word I've entered for us unless there's an us coming. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, true, yeah.
That is not, So he said he has entered for us into the order of, as a forerunner into the order of Melchizedek. Now, a forerunner is an emissary who goes ahead of a troop that's coming. So when you see a forerunner, it means whatever he represents is right behind him. So Jesus has entered as a forerunner into this order called the order of Melchizedek.
Wow.
Why is that the most important thing Jesus would do for you and me after rising from the dead? Now, it has to be important if that's the first thing he does when he gets back to heaven. After the ascension, the first thing he does is go into this order called the order of Melchizedek.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so I go into the workings of this because I take it all the way back to Abraham, because Abraham becomes the first man in the Bible to encounter the priesthood of Melchizedek, which is actually in layman's term the priesthood of the kingdom. You know, the word Melchizedek is a Hebrew, or is a Hebrew Aramaic word that's made up of two words in the Hebrew. It's very simple.
Okay.
Because in Hebrew, names mean something. They tell you what they are.
Okay.
Melchizedek is made up of two Hebrew words. Meleki is the first word. The first Meleki, Zedek, is righteousness.
Okay.
So essentially, his name means king of righteousness.
Righteousness.
So when I talk about the order of Melchizedek, I'm talking about an order governed by a king of righteousness.
Wow, this is really interesting. Like, if we were to go back to the earlier comment that we made earlier, right, when we were talking about, Bezliah, speaking of dominion over a kingdom, being a king, and then you speak about Jesus Christ being a forerunner.
Yes, sir.
And that means there's a troop that is coming after him.
Yeah, exactly.
And these have got to be kings.
Yeah, exactly.
These have to be kings.
Yeah.
So that's really, I'm sure that would be really, really interesting to learn and to actually get to know more about.
It's a very robust online school. You go to francismiles.com and then you'll see a link for the online school. I mean, it's very robust. We filmed it very well. I downloaded it very well. And then it allows you to do multiple choice questions, allows you to do class assignments that I get to look at. You send me your work and I see all online. I mean, it's beautiful.
Wow.
I mean, and then you learn at your own pace.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, it's changing lives.
Wow.
It's changing lives. So I would love to see you go through. I have graduated over 4,000 students now.
Wow.
So I would like you to join that company. Let's keep the numbers going, guys. It's life-changing. I've had people literally wrecked by the power of God, by that revelation.
Wow.
One of the biggest things I find people telling me, said, you know what? This revelation has introduced to my kingship. The church does not have a problem understanding their priesthood. We know we are priests, but it's the kingship that has never been introduced. So it's like meeting your kingly side for the first time.
Wow. Wow.
And you realize why certain things do not fit, why there are areas of your life that even preaching couldn't speak to, because the people those that were preaching it were not speaking to the king in you, they were speaking to the priest in you. And yet there was a king in you crying to be fed as well. See what I love about Melchizedek, he was both a king and a priest. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So God wants to marry that. So I tell you how to marry that, because it's a very powerful spiritual technology of engaging the culture once you understand those two dynamics. Because I've actually taught business people. I remember a businessman asked me, he's an oil guy, he said to me, how does the order of Melchizedek look like in business? I said, well, just understand the workings of it. It's a king and priest working together, okay? Is that right? Through the prophetic grace.
Wow.
So I said, here's how it looks like in practical terms. I said, remember, David is a king he comes from the tribe of Judah. He has been chosen and anointed by Samuel to become king. Well, he's in exile for a little bit because there's a jealous king on the throne by Saul, who's terrified of this guy. He's chasing him all over the place. Yeah. So he ends up in the Philistia, in the land of the Philistines, and he's living in Ziklag. He has built a city. So one time he has to go into battle, where he leaves his house, he leaves his city behind. Well, on his way back, he comes home to a nightmare. The city has been burned down by the Amalekites. Yeah. Wives are gone, the children are gone. They're like, what is going on? Everything is burned to the ground. Okay? David, it's so bad, the men of David are thinking of stoning him. But David begins to encourage himself in the Lord. But he does something that's very interesting. Which is, if you don't understand the order of Melchizedek, you won't understand what David did. Because David is from the tribe of Judah. Now, according to Moses, who ordained the priesthood of Levi, the house of Aaron, Moses said, only a Levite from the tribe of Levi can be a priest. If anybody from the other tribes, if you even try to do the work of a priest, if God doesn't kill you, the judgment will be leprosy. And we have an example of that in the Bible. And yet David turns to Abiathar, the son of Aaron, and says, Abiathar, give me the ephod. Now the ephod was the holiest garment you could wear in the priesthood of Levi.
Okay.
It was the most sacred.
Okay.
Why is David, a man from the tribe of Judah, asking a high priest to give him his garments, so he puts them on? And he puts them on and inquires of the Lord. The question becomes to me when I saw this, why didn't God strike him dead? Because he's violating. Why is a man from the tribe of Judah wearing the holiest garment of the kingship? But here's the key. David had already discovered the order of Melchizedeck. If you read Psalm 110, he had already discovered it by revelation. So his revelation had changed his disposition in the spirit.
Wow.
So God said, okay, David, if you can see it, you can have it. David saw there's a priesthood where I don't have to be only a priest or be one thing, I can be both. So what I taught these guys, this is how it looks like in the marketplace. It says, you could be doing a business deal. The priestly grace is designed for fellowship with God. That means the priestly grace, you hear God through the priestly grace. But the kingly grace is the execution aspect. It's where you take territory. Are you got what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
So the kingly side, I would call that side holding the sword.
Okay.
Because it's you are fighting it out to gain more territory. David at Ziklag, when he lost everything, he puts on the ephod. As a priest first, he inquires of the Lord.
Wow.
God gives him a strategy how to take back what is lost in the marketplace from the priestly side. But the execution of what he received cannot come from the priestly side, because the priestly side is not for execution, it's for fellowship. The kingly is for conquering, it's for fellowship, it's for advancement. That's the problem with the church. We keep hearing, we have no ability to execute. Because nobody's speaking to our kingship. In the order of Melchizedek school, I speak to your kingship.
Wow. This is really beautiful.
I'm telling you, we've had people who said, I went to the school, as soon as I came out, I opened my first business.
Wow.
Just took off.
Wow.
Why? Because finally I had permission to become a king.
To
That's what the school is. It's really life-changing. It's got 17 life-changing modules. It's phenomenal. So I would love for you to go francismiles.com and check it out. It will change your life, but then it allows me to follow your progress, and sometimes, and in most cases, I give you a call, we talk about it. That's a place where people get to talk to me, because if they're going through my school, I get closer, because that's one of my mandates, is I really want to teach the body of Christ how to walk in this priesthood of the kingdom.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's really powerful. Actually, it's an eye-opener right now. When you spoke about David. See, I like the story of King David when he inquires of the Lord. I like that part that he inquires of the Lord. I even write about it in one of my books, Authentic Divine Dialogue.
Yes.
So, but then, I never looked at it from an angle where we actually put on the robe. I mean, I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
How many times I read it, but I actually missed that part. But it's really, really, really empowering, also looking at it from that angle where he needed to be a priest, and afterwards having the commissioning from the Lord, being told, yes, you can go ahead and do it.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So this guy I was talking about, so after I told him this, he was in the middle of an oil deal, that he had been working on this oil deal, and there was a lot of money on the table. But there was an aspect of the contract that almost caused the whole deal to be destroyed. This is months and months of phone calls putting the deal together. He said, Dr. Myles, I saw my money leaving the room. As they were haggling over one piece of the contract, they couldn't agree on, they were just doing this. And then I remembered what you told me, that I am part of the order of Melchizedeck. If the kingly is not doing it, the priestly can show me what to do, then I come back in my kingly mode to execute.
Wow.
So he excused himself from the table, went in a restroom, and began to worship the Lord, began to pray in tongues. He said, Lord, what's going on? He said, I became a priest, because I couldn't do that in the boardroom, because I needed to be a king in the boardroom. But I realized there was something that was going to stop this deal from happening.
Wow.
He said, Dr. Myles, while I am worshiping God in the restroom, I get the download, and the download was a statement from the Lord about how to solve the impasse. He said, I wrote it on a piece of tissue. The Lord said to me, go in there and ask them if they considered structuring that clause this way. Wow. It was so simple, direct from heaven, clause. Wow. He took it. Said, I went in there. Of course, I couldn't tell them. I couldn't tell them. I went to pray in tongues. That would have been weird for them. See, that's how you have to know the order. Yeah. The order of Melchizedek, I love it, because when you're a priest, you be priestly. But when it's time to be a king, there's a different semantics of behavior, because you're dealing with heathens who may not know what speaking in tongues is. But they'll see a solution, a divine solution, when they see it. Wow. So he said, hey, I have a question. Everybody was quiet. He said, listen. He said, I read from the tissue paper. I wrote this thing down. Have we thought of restructuring that clause? And he read the exact word God gave him, verbatim. And he said there was quiet in the room. The different opposing parties looked at each other. They said, wow, why didn't you mention that all the way? Why have we been arguing all this? Well, that's what was needed. They changed that clause. Deal was signed. He made his money. You see, that's what that school, the Order of Melchizedek, has done for people around the world.
It's really amazing. What's amazing about this is that I would like to believe there's somebody out there watching who is a non-Christian, who is not saved. If they're to hear about this aspect of a Christian life, where you're not worried, where you're not stressed about anything, where you know you can actually just go and talk to God. Yeah. and you're not going there crying. You're just going there to find out what is He saying, what is His mind.
Oh yes. And you know what's amazing is that people don't understand that God wants to speak to you about your business deal. He's your Father. Wow. And He's the best businessman in the creation. Listen to me. Listen to me. Anybody who can make what God has made, have you seen the orderliness of the solar system? 1 degree and you and I are tossed. 1 degree of the sun off its axle. 1 degree.
The earth is toasted.
We can be toasted. It will be too hot for us to survive. I mean, who's that systematic? I mean, that's the mindset of an engineer I mean, the mathematics behind it. That's the God we serve. He can speak to business. Wow. So I'm teaching people, said, why do you think God only wants us to talk about heaven? No, God wants to talk about your here and now. He wants to give you technologies. He wants to give you the next app. Wow. He wants to give you the next WhatsApp. He wants to give you, that's that. Wow. See? Why? Because you take territory with it. So I mean, I believe even people that don't know the Lord, if they just know this aspect of God, it will change their life. Wow. So in the school, I get to activate that. That's so so go it, francismiles.com, click on the online school icon, and then we can see you in the school and just have fun.
Wonderful. Yeah. So, Dr. Myles, I'd like to believe that we have consumed a lot, we have shared a lot, and that I would like to believe, that was a lot. There was a lot to consume. So, what I want from you are your last words. You know, your last words. You can talk about I don't know, anything that's coming onto your mind right now. Please do share with us your last words.
I just want to say this. Here's the wisdom key I want to leave you with that has helped me a lot. Don't destroy the bridges of yesterday, because they might become the bridges of tomorrow. I'll say it again. Do not destroy the bridges of yesterday, because they might become the bridges of tomorrow. What do I mean? I mean that, one of the key to increasing your net worth, your ability to prosper, is connected to relationships. Because networks at the very essence is about relationships. Networks have human elements to them. And the more you can steward the human element, you'll be very successful in life. Because tomorrow you do not know that the person you met tomorrow. I remember, this very interesting story. I was with my friend of mine, Tim Story. Tim Story is an amazing guy. God uses him in signs and wonders. Is in America, is known as a pastor to the movie stars in Hollywood. And he told me a story I'll never forget. He says in the 1990s, he was doing a conference in Baltimore, Maryland, with Benny Hinn, James Robinson, and Tim Story. They were the keynote speakers of this huge conference. He said at the end of the meeting, the bishop who was hosting the conference came to Tim Story and said, Tim, I wanted to meet a man from the West Hills of Virginia. He loves you. He just wants to talk to you. He's enamored by your ministry. He's a dear brother. He comes to our fellowship. Can he just come and see you in the green room? And Tim Story said, I said, yes. I want to say, I would just want to say a quick hello to him. He said, here comes this heavy-set black man with his wife. A huge smile. And he came to me. He said, Brother Tim Story, we just love your ministry. And the guy introduced himself to Tim Story. He says, my name is Thomas Jakes.
Wow.
He said, Francis, he had 400 members. Nobody knew him. 3 years after that, he was on the magazine, of news magazine. They are saying, is this the next Billy Graham? Wow. 3 years. Wow. What about if Tim Story had mistreated T.D. Jakes when he was nobody? According to human mind, where he would have lost amazing opportunities to meet the T.D. Jakes everybody wants to meet today. But that's why do not destroy the bridges of yesterday, because they might become the bridges of tomorrow. That's my closing thought. I'm excited for you. And just remember, you can become anything. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. Nothing is impossible with God. Don't do it by yourself. Do it with God. Nothing is impossible. Thank you for giving me and my brother here the time to come into your home or to come into your life and just speak to you. Amen.
Amen. To be honest, right there, the last words, as I was just listening to them, they resonated very well with my spirit, and I felt like that is just a prophetic word, and I am taking it all for myself. So yeah, it was wonderful hearing from Dr. Myles. It's a rare privilege, rare opportunity. You don't get it every day. So I'd like to believe that definitely our lives are never going to be the same. Thank you so much, Dr. Myles.
Amen.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, we've ended. I don't know. Would you like to say something about me?
What?
I don't know. Would you like to say something about me?
What would you, okay, on your show?
Yeah. Well, this would be just a separate clip, just a short clip.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me do something. Do you want to do something with this?
Okay. Let me.